Hello again, everyone. This is Tania Gabrielle, Wealth Astro-Numerologist, and welcome to Star Codes. I'm always so excited when we look at an important upcoming events in the celestial realms and the numerology, and today is no exception. In fact, it's one of the big Astro-Numerology events of 2022, and that is Jupiter's conjunction with Neptune in Pisces, which has not happened since 1856. So a long time ago. It's a once in a lifetime experience. Obviously, we'll never experience this again. And what makes it so special is that Jupiter is the ancient ruler of the sign of Pisces, and Neptune is the current modern ruler. So we are in for a very Piscean experience, and of course it's already in play. It's been building. They're very close together as you're watching this. The exactitude of the moment happens on April 12th, but that doesn't mean that it's not being felt right now. So it peaks in mid-April, but it also continues into May because these are slow-moving planets. So let's begin by first looking at the date of the exact moment the two come together. And that date is the 12th of April, 2022, which adds up to a universal date of 13. So we have the number 12, the vibration of the student, of learning, of growth, through joy, through happiness. So always finding that place where you trust in the divine intelligence, in the divine wisdom to guide you. And that joy of letting go and surrendering is then inspiring you to literally learn and grow and expand your wisdom. And then the whole date adds up to 13, and 13 is the number of the lunar cycles. We have 13 in a year. It's the numbers of the 4 seasons. We have 13 weeks in each season. So it embodies the divine feminine in terms of change and transformation and just going with the flow of the seasonal changes, which for us happen throughout our day. And then of course we have the visible representation in nature. So it's a very powerful code, and it ties into the number 4 as well, which is the number of Earth, where we have those 4 seasons. We have 4 directions, and we are always in this place of discovering who we are in terms of our ability to feel comfortable in whichever location we find ourselves in. And of course, it's not just the physical location, though we live in a physical 3D world. It's really the location of the heart. And this is where we now turn to the incredible message for this conjunction. So the conjunction happens at 23 degrees. Jupiter and Neptune will be at 23 degrees in Pisces at the very end of that degree. And 23 is the royal star of the lion number. It is the strongest number in numerology, and it embodies the strength and courage to take the divinely inspired path. This is the message when Jupiter and Neptune come together at 23 degrees Pisces. So Jupiter is about faith. Neptune is about the dissolution of judgment of others, joining together. We are all one. We all come from the same source, and joining higher consciousness, spirituality. Jupiter is, as I said, faith, expansion, wisdom. So this is an incredible moment where literally taking the divinely inspired path is the path of the heart, the wisdom of the heart. And so Jupiter, when Jupiter comes in to any celestial connection, it just makes it bigger. Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system, so it just enhances everything. And in this case, it's enhancing Pisces and Neptune. So there's this very magical, mystical, dreamlike journey where we literally are in touch with the overall ultimate dreams that we hold in our heart, which is to love each other and to live together in harmony. So we have faith in the divine. We have faith in our natural ability to feel good, to feel abundant, to feel loved. We have faith in our spirituality and in our ability to connect to the eternal, because we are eternal, right? We are not our bodies. Those are our vehicles for this lifetime. Just like you purchase a car to take you from point A to B, it's a vehicle. It is useful to experience and to just go on discoveries and journeys and adventures. Same as with your body, your vehicle. Your heart, though, is connected to the soul. And so we must now also look at what the shadow side is of Pisces and Neptune, especially because there can be a sense of delusion. You can feel disillusioned. You can be trapped in a place that is not connected to reality. And that's where you choose to not listen. You choose to look away. There is self-betrayal. There is the stopping of listening to your intuition in favor of your ego desires, which come from the mind. So you feel disappointed, you feel disenchanted with the world, with yourself. You are resonating to the victim frequency, in other words. And that is the shadow side of Pisces and Neptune, is to feel like the victim. And the Piscean age that we are leaving behind now as we move into the Aquarian age was the age where we really felt what it was like to be a victim or a victimizer and to choose otherwise. So that 2,000-year age was really to help us see what victimization is and to not get stuck in that victim frequency, which is when we judge everything, where we judge ourselves, where we judge others, right? We are literally moving now, and this conjunction is one of the big moments of birthing this new world, where we have to remind ourselves to be in love with everything that we see, that everything is a reflection of the divine. Because if we're not in love with everything we see, we are in judgment of it. That's the only other choice we have. If we're not in love with everyone and everything that we see, and see it as an actual reflection of the divine for whatever purpose it serves, if we are not in love with it, we are in judgment of it. So we always bring it back to the heart. And this is really the main message, is the wisdom of the heart is colorblind. It does not get its prompts from external imagery, what we see, what we're measuring, right? We tend to measure things. Do we stack up in this spirituality segment of life? Do we stack up in terms of our worth, our value? Do we stack up in terms of our morals and our ethics and our code of honor? And this is really where we then are constantly looking externally out there instead of within. We're not in our heart when we do that. So, and what does that? What does this judgmental kind of approach? It's the mind. It's not the heart. The heart cannot do it. There's nothing loving, kind, or compassionate about judgment. So we really need to take the time to see how we judge everything as good or bad, as low vibe or high vibe, and categorize it in our mind. And so we really need to observe and say, well, how much am I actually living in my heart without judgment? Because the heart makes love to what it sees as dissonant or discordant. Dissonance in music is not a bad thing. Harmony and dissonance work together as one to reflect the gamut of everything that is possible. The eternal is, we can't even imagine the incredible expressions that are available to us, but certainly we can see in our world that everybody has a very unique way of growing. And so our heart makes love to what it sees is dissonant and discordant. Our heart will show all of us that what's external is the illusion and what's internal is reality. So we tend to think something's wrong with us, something's wrong with somebody else, something's wrong with the world. And that's the problem, is we think everything we experience is perfectly designed by the divine. And this is where we have to surrender to trust. And if there's anything that Pisces and Jupiter and Neptune conjunction in Pisces represents, it is to surrender and trust in the divine wisdom, in the wisdom of the heart. Pisces is unconditional love. That is the highest expression of Pisces. So when we bring polarity to things, right? When we do not make love to everything that seems discordant to us, we create judgment, which creates polarity. And so then once we polarize it, it's separate from us. We actually have created a barrier to love itself. And the universe is love. There's no way we'd have all this miraculous, amazing stars and galaxies without love being the origin of everything. So we don't have to worry about our world not being love. It is made from love. We have to just focus on being in our heart so that we can resonate to the rhythm of that love. So really, we ourselves don't need to feel like we need to receive healing of any kind, because here's the thing. It's the information that we operate from, that we put in our mind, that is what actually needs to be healed and helped. The heart doesn't take in information. The heart doesn't need information. The heart operates from a place of wisdom. So the only purpose we have here on earth, if we look at what our true purpose is that the world needs more heart. The world needs acceptance that everything is love and that everything for that reason has to play out, right? The way the love is expressed, and love is the gamut of everything, because the universe, remember, is made from love. So there's the shadow side and the light. We don't have to separate them from each other and create this polarity between the two. So the only purpose we have on earth, because the world is love, is not to judge things as good and evil, right? So it's really about acceptance and about feeling that sense of the Aquarian age, which is the multidimensional, we are all in this together, right? We all just need to follow our heart, to be our true self, to be in total integrity with our soul. Our purpose is to just live here. That's really our purpose. That's how we connect to the language of light and love. So when we are consciously paying attention to the shadow world, which of course is part of this grand experience and experiment, and we also pay attention to the light world, we can then create something that is truly magical, because we are accepting both. We are in acceptance. We are in a state of acceptance that both exist. And for that reason, are able to create a new world of non-judgment. It's a world of acceptance. And that is the world that we can use our will to create. We can create this incredible, exuberant, accepting world, and constantly, obviously, observing that when we go into our old patterns of judgment, of polarity, of separation, that we come back home here. We always come back home here. This is our home. This is the everlasting, eternal soul connection, right? So Jupiter's exuberance, Jupiter always lights things up, and it delights with its exuberant energy. It sees over the horizon. It sees beyond where we are now. So this is a moment to recognize that divine spark, that spark from the beyond, the divine spark of creation, that you are eternal, that you live temporarily in this vehicle called the physical body, that you are evolving rapidly, that you are able to literally integrate the physical and spiritual at once. That is just stunning. That is the magic that we're in, right? So as we integrate the light and the dark by stopping judgment, because that's the only way we're going to be able to get through this period in a wholesome way. So if you think of it as the expectations that were put on us and still are put on us, especially in the Western world, of needing to live up to a certain standard in order to be appreciated, and we compare ourselves to others as a result because that standard couldn't be attained unless there was something to compare it to, which is the actual polarity that we create. So we're trying to live up to this state of externally imposed perfection, which often is coming as a result of us not stopping to see how somebody else is doing things, literally, visibly. So we're pulled out of gratitude in those moments because we are absolutely not considering how grateful we are for being here and just living from this heart-centered place. Instead, we are trying to impress or trying to be perfect. So Jupiter is coming in Pisces, the water sign of incredible cleansing, incredible healing. And Jupiter and Neptune are coming together so that we feel the blessings of life. So we can focus on those blessings and focus on what we're grateful for and see the blessings all around us. And then Pisces is helping us to surrender and invite the divine into our heart, into our life, right? So with Jupiter and Pisces, we are getting inspired answers because we're going beyond the mind. And that is the key to inspiration. So Jupiter inspires faith in the divine. And no matter how those inspirations are brought into your awareness, they arrive in a subtle way. So we really, really have to acutely listen for them to train ourselves, because we're very trained to listen to the external and comply with the external prompts, the expectations, the judgments. So moving into these subtle realms of divine inspiration takes opening up and listening and receiving, right? And these are very divine feminine aspects. So we're bringing the divine feminine and sacred masculine into balance. Pisces is about compassion. And that begins with having compassion for yourself. So non-judgment begins with you. Forgiveness begins with you. In fact, forgiveness can only come from you to you. You cannot forgive another because it truly is something within you that feels disconnected. And so you can only forgive yourself. And that's how the heart works. The heart never judges, right? The mind does, but the heart can't. So you come back to your heart, and that's the forgiveness. So Pisces helps us to let go of that judgment through compassion, through forgiveness. And that's how you get in touch with the heart so easily, because you're operating from that natural flow. You literally are trusting that you are guided from a place that your mind cannot comprehend, but your heart can surrender to. So if you take anything from this forecast, it is to know that you have all the wisdom you need in your heart. You don't need help. You don't have to feel like you need to bring love to the world. The world is created from love. You just need to resonate with the natural flow of love that's already there, and that can be done from here. So I wish you an amazing next few weeks and a beautiful spiritual acknowledgement of who you are. That you are already love, you are light, you are shadow, you are also darkness. You are here to acknowledge it all, allow it to teach you, and for that reason, suspend judgment. Have an amazing Jupiter and Neptune conjunction. And remember, you also have a star code. You have this conjunction at 23 degrees Pisces somewhere in your astrology birth chart. And it is touching you in a specific house. And it is impacting you in some capacity, of course. And your own birth star code is speaking to you every day. Your birthday, the number of your birth certificate name, of course, your astrology birth chart with all the amazing degrees as well, which are all numbers, they're all codes. So to discover your own star code, head on over to starcodeclass.com, where I have a free masterclass for you. It's lots of fun. You can discover so much about who you are and what you're here to express in this lifetime, what your natural gifts are, and the gifts of others in your life as well, which will help you have compassion for them instead of judgment. So enjoy that free masterclass at starcodeclass.com and have a beautiful week, and I'll see you in next week's Star Codes podcast. Lots of love.